Hello, my name is Allie Weinberg, and I'm the Director of the Office of Student Wellness. Today, we'll be exploring alcohol and other drugs on college campuses and how to have fun and stay safe while at Wellesley. As you prepare to come to Wellesley, I encourage you to think about what happens on college campuses. We know that far more than just learning takes place. The answer is a lot of things happen. There's sleeping, studying, eating, socializing, partying, sex, bathing. You're learning and you're living. This is important as we think about ways we take care of ourselves, because it means there are many opportunities to make healthier decisions to care for others and ourselves. You are whole people, here to live, learn, and thrive. As you come to campus, you may experience new joys, sorrows, worries, and concerns, in which folks use different coping skills to manage the array of emotions. The college years are also a time when mental health issues may come to the surface. For many, it's their first time away from home. There may be newfound independence and agency over relationships and health. And with all of this, there's the responsibility to balance the different dimensions of your well-being. So today, we will explore supporting holistic wellness with some skills and supports and how this impacts substance use safety during your time at Wellesley and beyond. So I'd first like to introduce you to the Office of Student Wellness. This is us here. On the left is Barbara Southcote, our dietitian nutritionist who works to help you nourish your mind and body. Nancy Baden is featured in the center, and she is our outreach nurse educator. Nancy works closely with our balanced health educators and also works with topics around sleep, immunity, and general health. And that's me on the right. I'm the director of OSW, and my background is as a licensed mental health counselor. So I'm particularly interested in mental health, healthy relationships, intersectional identities, substance use safety, and mind-body connections. Our mission in OSW is to empower students like you to live full, balanced lives and find your own unique ways of thriving. We encourage personal responsibility for achieving and maintaining wellness, and we're here to support your wellness journey through education and enrichment to reach your highest potential. We also work closely with the fabulous peer health educators on campus, student leaders and orgs focused on different dimensions of wellness. The Ps, as we call them, are made up of the sexual health educators, balanced health educators, active minds, and safe. If you're looking to get involved around wellness, the Ps are a great way to go. So as we welcome you to campus, we aim to create a community with shared standards and information, resulting in health and safety for all. With this, we want to take time today to talk with you about alcohol and other drugs, which you may come across during your time at Wellesley. Today's presentation will explore substance use and creating a community of care, so that if you do choose to use substances, you can make informed decisions with the health of yourself and others in mind. We approach this work from a harm reduction approach, one in which we may have expertise in some areas, but you remain the expert in your own life. So we are here to empower you with education and skills to make informed, healthy decisions for yourself. Beginning with that is how to practice meaningful self-care. So what does it mean to care for ourselves? What do healthy coping skills look like? What is self-care and how does this differ from self-soothing? And how do we care for ourselves in meaningful and sustainable ways, particularly while away at school? From infancy, each of us has a natural inclination to self-soothe. Self-soothing is a way of relaxing our central nervous system, calming the mind and body, and experiencing relief in the absence of whatever stress we may be facing. As infants, we experience self-soothing from our caregivers as touch, food, and a safe environment. As a child, we instinctively look to calm ourselves in moments when we feel anxious, scared, angry, or sad. Learning to self-soothe is vital for healthy development, and it's an important skill for nurturing emotional and physical well-being. The ritual of self-soothing continues throughout life. How we are comforted and soothed as a child influences the habits that we adopt to soothe ourselves as adults. Consider for a moment, what do you do instinctively to make yourself feel better, to escape, to reward yourself, to cope when feeling pressure or stress? The power of self-soothing lies in your ability to be self-aware or mindful of your needs. When you're out of touch with or not attending to your basic fundamental needs, you may resort to some unhealthy coping or self-soothing techniques. For some, this may mean becoming overly dependent on others in our lives. To feel better in control of feelings or discomfort, others may turn to food or exercise, either by restricting, binging, purging, or overexercising. Similarly, overspending or gambling is another means of attempting to feel better in control of otherwise out of control situations. And for others, this may look like reliance, dependence, or addiction to substances like alcohol or drugs to numb these overwhelming feelings. If you or someone you know is struggling with some of these unhealthy coping skills, there is support. Please visit our website for more resources or email us to connect and learn more. The more we can become in touch with our needs, the better we'll be able to identify what we need in the moment. Many self-care activities are similar to planting seeds. They're investments in our longer-term health and well-being, nourishment for our future selves. A helpful model for conceptualizing well-being and meaningful self-care is through the wellness wheel and different dimensions of wellness. This model underscores the holistic approach to our wellness, that to truly thrive, we must attend to all parts of ourselves. And this includes physical, social, intellectual, emotional, occupational, environmental, financial, and spiritual. It's difficult for any one person to achieve all of these things, but what we're really aiming for is a balance, a little bit of a la carte. So some examples of this look like getting restful sleep, setting healthy boundaries in relationships, engaging in healthy movement through exercise, taking ownership of your finances, getting regular medical care, nourishing your body through nutrition, going to counseling or therapy, or engaging in meditation or prayer. So while for some, drinking or smoking may be recreational or social, if we aren't attending to our well-being in a sustainable, holistic manner, it has the potential to become an unhealthy coping skill. So we want to encourage you to make informed decisions around substance use that enable you to have fun while staying safe. Some of you may be thinking, I don't even drink. Perhaps I smoke, but it's never been a problem before. Even if you don't use this information for yourself, a friend of yours may need this information one day, and it's important that as a community, we know how to care for one another. So we urge you to pay attention and utilize this information. We want you all to have fun while at Wellesley, but we want you to be safe, and the two are not mutually exclusive. Today we'll be discussing how to be safe if you choose to drink or use drugs. Before we get into some information, we just want to start with our policies. Our alcohol and other drug policy can be found online, and it's founded on 4 main points. While at Wellesley, it's important to observe state, federal, and college policies. Respect the community by minimizing the impact of drinking and drug abuse upon others. Care for your own health and well-being, and intervene before things get bad. Get help for yourself or someone else if you're needing medical attention. And this is really talking about our responsible action clause. Students should call for help when alcohol or other drug use requires prompt medical attention. If on campus, that means calling campus police, and if off campus, calling 911. A policy violation will generally be waived for a student seeking medical treatment or for assisting another person in obtaining medical treatment for an alcohol or drug-related overdose. So now that we've got a lot of the foundation of things covered, it's now trivia time. First, we're going to start to talk a little bit about our community here at Wellesley. We're going to do a little bit of Q&A, true and false, so follow along with me. All right, so what are some reasons why some Wellesley College students choose not to consume alcohol? Is it that A, they don't like it, B, faith or religion don't allow it, C, there's health concerns, or D, concerns over legality? The answer is kind of a trick question. It's all of the above and a bonus that some people just don't like it. And what we really want to encourage here at Wellesley is a community of respect, one in which we respect others' decisions around using or not using substances in healthy, safe ways. What makes more Wellesley College students forget in the moment all that they know about alcohol or other drugs? Is it strong feelings, loud noise, or low light? The answer is, those pesky emotions. This is why it's really important that you check in with yourself before using substances. Think about how you're feeling and how substances might amplify these feelings. True or false? There are students who identify as being in recovery from substances at Wellesley. The answer is true. There are people in recovery everywhere, leading fulfilling and successful lives, and we are happy to support that. In fact, Wellesley has a substance-free housing in Stone Davis. The goal of this housing space is to provide a supportive and engaging residential experience for students who will take an active role in building community and are committed to living a substance-free lifestyle. All residents and their guests agree to keep their floor and rooms free from substances at all times. If this is something you seem interested in, get in touch with us at Residence Life or Wellness, and we'll get you connected. Okay, so now you're getting ready to go out for the night and you're heading to a pregame. Before going out, what are some things that you should do to get ready? Perhaps it's picking out your outfit, putting on some good music, but also don't forget, eat and hydrate, pack some necessary items. This includes your one card. Right now, during our reality, our face masks, charged phone with important numbers. And if you're taking any medication and you might consume alcohol or other drugs, make sure it's safe first. And if in doubt, wait. All right, so I'm going to give you all a second. If you haven't done so already, take your phones out and please program some of these important numbers into your phones. Or you can also screenshot this for later. No, really, I'm going to wait for you to do that. All right, guys, thank you for playing along. Next question. What are 3 ways to reduce the risk of over-consuming when pre-gaming? The answer is measure, pace, and stop. We'll be referring to this, so it's really helpful to remember that. What do you think an accountability buddy is? Hanging out together? Then you should be looking out for each other. 2 drinks might be fine for you and not fine for your friend. If you're drinking with friends or not sure that the friends you came with to an event are the friends you're going to leave with, you and your friends may end up drinking differently. That's okay, but you should have a plan with your friends. Accept your friend's decision respectfully, even if they choose to go home, even if they stop drinking, and make a plan so that everybody is safe. Keep each other accountable and safe. A group of 5 Wellesley's friends all had the same amount to drink before going out. They weigh about the same, but one seems much more drunk. Why could this be? The answer is, alcohol can affect everyone differently. You may even drink a certain amount one time, but at another time drink the same and feel very differently. Some helpful tips to keep in mind. Be aware of how you're feeling and check in with yourself. Remember along the way to measure and pace your drinks. Stop when you've reached your limit, even if your limit is less than the last time you were drinking. So relatedly, what impacts how we process alcohol? How could it be that if you drink 2 drinks one time and 2 drinks a second time, you might be feeling the effects differently? The answer is there's a lot of things that impact how we process alcohol. It could be based on our hydration, what we ate that day, how much we slept or didn't sleep, biological sex, ethnicity, if we've been traveling, certainly medications we've been on, and if you've been menstruating. It's really important that you keep these things in mind so that before you drink, you know where your body might be at. All right, so now we're going to move into some scenarios, and I'd like you to consider what you might do. So a group of friends are celebrating Hannah's birthday in someone's room. There's 10 first years there. How many are likely not consuming alcohol? The answer? Again, kind of a trick question. It could be 10, but it also could be 0. Most likely it's around 3. Most, 78% of those who do drink, do so moderately. Jamie's passed out. Their friends put them in bed and debate going back to the party across the hall and agree to check in on them later. Why is this pug so worried about this plan? Good Doggo here says, you really should stay with them. Keep Jamie awake until they're less impaired. Keep them safe from falls, vomiting, or texting with an X. Let them rest or sleep only on their left side, and call for help if needed. Remember, you're covered by the Responsible Action Clause. Again, if you're on campus, call campus police, and if off campus, call 911. This party animal asks you to be their partner in beer pong. How can you respond in a way that minimizes the risk of harm to everyone? Good Doggo says, maybe just take a pass. Or if you do choose to play, you can use water or a lower alcohol content drink like beer. You should aim to sip and not take shots, and ignore the rules and set your own pace. Listen to your body and stop when you feel that is right for you. You're at the hospital with a friend who drank too much. She had a few drinks. When she started to vomit, I cut her off, but she couldn't walk to the bus, so I called for help. When should you ask your friend to check in with themselves? If you start to see changes in the following, check in with your friends to see how they're feeling. You did a great job checking in when you noticed that her coordination was off. Other things to keep in mind include judgment, inhibitions, and reactions. If you notice your friend isn't responding well, suggest going for a walk and getting food and water. Gather the rest of your friends and make a plan for how you'd like the rest of the night to go. Here's some bonus info. If you want to make sure you and your friends stop drinking before you start to notice these signs, before judgment is too impaired to decide whether to drink more or not, before vomiting becomes a risk of choking, before falls or injuries occur, and certainly before body temperature, heart rate, or breathing rate drops. If you start to notice any of these signs, you should certainly call for help. All right, now we're moving into the measuring up. Using your annotate tool, mark on this solo cup where you would pour if you wanted to pour yourself 1 shot of vodka. All right, was it here? If so, you would be correct. On a solo cup with lines, this is what 1 shot of vodka looks like. All right, now we're going to be marking off what 1 standard pour of beer looks like. Get your annotate tools ready, and here is representative of 1 standard pour for a beer. And finally, we're going to mark off what 1 standard pour for a glass of wine looks like. Ready? And that would be a standard pour of wine. So this chart explains a little bit more. It's really important to note that for beer, this is what 5% alcohol would be. However, if you're drinking an IPA or a beer with a stronger alcohol content, you'd want to make sure that you're paying attention to that. Okay, so 12 ounces for 5% beer, 8 to 9 ounces for liquor, about malt liquor, about 7% alcohol, 5 ounces for a standard pour of table wine, which is about 12% alcohol, and shots are about 1.5 ounces for 80 proof. This includes whiskey, gin, rum, vodka, and tequila, and that's about 40% alcohol. Okay, here's another scenario. Alex, assigned female at birth, weighs about 140 pounds and is going out tonight. They're planning to pace themselves. How many drinks can they safely have to get buzzed? So looking at this blood alcohol content, we first want to look at Alex's weight, which is about 140, their sex, and so how many drinks can Alex safely have? The answer is 1. So I'd like you to just consider for a moment where you might fall on this back chart. It's really helpful to understand where your back chart is so that you know where your safe limits are. So as we look at this shot of vodka, how many of these would it take to get drunk? If you haven't noticed, I'm really want for those trick questions. It totally depends on your body composition, weight, if you've eaten, if you've been traveling. Again, remember to keep in mind your blood alcohol content and measure, pace, and stop. What are 3 things you should remember if you choose to drink? Did you say measure, pace, stop? Oh, I'm so proud of you. You would be right. Measure and pace your drinks and stop when you've reached your limit, even if that limit may be less than what you were used to drinking previously. All right, so now we're moving into the section on marijuana. Again, we're going to play a little round of true and false, or false, I should say. So first up, marijuana is legal in Massachusetts. You can use marijuana on campus. Marijuana is not an addictive drug. You can overdose on marijuana, and cannabis can help you sleep. Get your answers ready. And here we are. Marijuana is legal here in Massachusetts and was recently made available recreationally. However, you cannot use marijuana on campus. Marijuana is still a federal Schedule I drug, and we receive federal funding at Wellesley, so marijuana in any form cannot be used on campus. It's actually a common myth that marijuana is not addictive. It can be addictive and habit-forming, and it is possible to overdose. It is more common, however, when edibles are involved, and this is why you should go slow if using this type of dosage. Another myth is that cannabis does not help you sleep. It perhaps may help you fall asleep, but it does not help sleep quality, and it does not help you stay asleep. If you find that you need it to sleep, this could be a sign of dependence. Here are some other key points to remember about marijuana in the state of Massachusetts. Just like we overestimate how much of our classmates drink, we similarly overestimate smoking habits. Some important points to keep in mind: most Wellesley students don't use marijuana. 68% of first years have never used it, and 84% of first years haven't used it in the last month. If you do choose to use marijuana, do not drive high. You should wait at least 3 hours after smoking to drive. And you can't use marijuana of any form in public, even though it is legal in Massachusetts. Should you choose to smoke, here are some key points to remember. Plan to stay in a safe space until the impairing effects wear off. Avoid using marijuana before activities that require intact cognitive functioning, such as homework, exams, classes. And don't mix marijuana with other drugs, including alcohol, which can intensify negative effects. Should you choose to consume edibles, overdoses are more likely to happen when using edibles. So remember to follow serving sizes, and if you don't know the serving size, take less and go slow. Edibles sometimes have delayed effects, so wait at least 2 hours before taking more, and plan to stay in a safe place until the impairing effects wear off. Again, we understand that substance use is part of some people's college experiences. However, we want to encourage you to make informed decisions so that you can stay safe while having fun. First, plan and prepare. Check in with yourself before drinking or using and make a plan. Sick, stressed, tired, hungry, menstruating, medicating? If so, drink less or skip drinking altogether. Have an accountability buddy help you stick to your plan, and make a plan for how you might handle drinks being offered to you. Maybe bring water and snacks with you. Next, check in with your emotions before drinking and make a plan. Following this, strong emotions can greatly impact our drinking. If you check in with yourself and find you're feeling intense emotions, either positive or negative, just remember, if you choose to drink, go slow. Measure and pace your drinks, and stop when you've reached your limit. There is a lot going on for everyone right now, including both stress and excitement. And this can affect the way alcohol and other drugs affect us. Like we were talking about with the self-check-ins, one of the best harm reduction strategies you can take while at Wellesley is just to wait to use any alcohol or other drugs until you feel more acclimated to your new home, and then test out what feels right for you. As we've mentioned, there's a lot going on right now. If you're looking for help and want to get connected to a trusted resource on campus, here are some different sources that can help support you. Confidentially, we have the Stone Center for Counseling, Health Services, the Office of Religious and Spiritual Life, and non-confidential resources include the Office of Student Wellness, your Residence Life Pro staff, class deans, coaches or athletic trainers, intercultural advisors, and certainly your faculty members. I want to thank you all for taking the time to review all this information with me. I certainly wish we were in person to have this conversation together, but that doesn't have to stop us from connecting and continuing talks around substance use safety. There's many ways to stay in touch. Be sure to follow and like Office of Student Wellness on Instagram and Facebook at Wellesley Wellness to get updates on information, events, and programs. You can also get more information by checking out our website, where we have links to articles, wellness newsletters, Q&As, and much, much more. Visit it at wellesley.edu/studentlife/studentwellness. If you have any questions or would like to get in touch, please feel free to email studentwellness@wellesley.edu or email me directly at aw101@wellesley.edu. Thank you for joining me today. Welcome to Wellesley, and be well.